Well, what is up, all of you variants from across the multiverse? This is Geekverse Reactions brought to you by Mando Talk, and I am your host, Caleb Keller, as always. And Hawkeye has officially dropped on Disney Plus. So what I wanted to do before this Thanksgiving week began and the craziness began. So first of all, happy Thanksgiving to all of our American listeners out there. Before we got going and things got crazy over here, I wanted to sit down and put the reactions in Geekverse Reactions and react to Hawkeye and give you kind of my big takeaway. So, by the way, the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye have been released on Disney Plus. I am going to share my spoiler big takeaways. I've got them listed here, and I'm just going to show you my list, and I'm going to run through the list, and you let me know what you think of it. This is going to be spoilers, so make sure you have seen the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye before you give this entire video a viewing. And by the way, if you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate your support in that way. Like this video if you like the things that I say, if you like what we're doing over here, and like it if you enjoy Hawkeye and you want to continue to see some more Hawkeye coverage here at Geekverse Reactions. So, Episode 1, I'm just going to go straight to it. Let's not waste any time. Episode 1 is titled Never Meet Your Heroes. And the first big takeaway of mine that I took from this episode was Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's origin is really cool. She was there in 2012 when all of these events began. You know, it takes us back to the original Avengers film. It was really cool. We were there in New York. I loved that moment. Next thing that I have as far as my big takeaways from episode 1, Clint Barton, of course, Hawkeye, clearly struggling with the loss of Natasha, aka Black Widow, and struggling with life after Endgame. This is definitely going to be a plot thread that we see throughout this show, and honestly, so far, that may be one of my most favorite things from this series so far, is seeing kind of the things that he's having to deal with. The next thing here, and this is pure speculation that I've got going on, Hawkeye goes to the restroom. He goes to a urinal, and at that urinal, written on that urinal, it says Thanos was right. And immediately, that made me think back to the Flag Smashers from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because those people had a belief that life was better during the blip, like after it happened and while half of the universe was wiped out. And ever since half the universe came back, they want to they want to go back to that lifestyle. So I don't know if maybe that's a potential connection, or maybe if there's just other big groups of people out there that believe that Thanos was right and we should just do what Thanos, or we should try to reestablish what Thanos did. Who knows? That's just speculation. You let me know what you think of that speculation, though. Okay, next thing that I have here is just the vibe of the show. I don't know why it hit me kind of in the middle of the first episode. It certainly feels like a Marvel project, like in the past. I would kind of say it's very similar to Falcon and the Winter Soldier in that sense. Like, it feels like Marvel, but it is slightly different as far as having the Christmas theme. That's something new to the MCU, and I'm here for it. I think it is mixed beautifully. Like, I didn't feel bogged down in, oh, this is just a Christmas story. It's definitely not that. It just gives you those Christmas vibes, and it fits perfectly with the time that we are currently in the calendar year right now. All right, next. Kate takes the Ronin outfit and discovers Armand is dead, and I believe that's how you spell his name. Who knows? By the way, don't judge my spelling or my typing over here on my notes. Usually I don't reveal these, but I figured, you know what, might as well give you that visual. But Armand, I believe that was his name, was the uncle of Kate's mom's fiance. That's a lot there. He was the uncle of Kate's mom's fiance. He's dead. After he has this kind of conversation with Kate's mom's fiance, which the fiance's name is Jack, I believe, they're kind of in this auction that probably there's some sketchy things going on there, and Armand wins the Ronin sword, and then all of a sudden this group of people show up, destroy the place, and Jack takes the sword. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But regardless, Kate at this auction location takes the Ronin suit, puts it on, and people believe that Ronin is back, which is how Hawkeye kind of gets incorporated with Kate's story. But we'll get to that in a minute. For some reason, this group that comes into this auction is after a watch that I'm unsure of its relevance personally. I think, if I remember correctly, the tag on the watch said Avengers Compound or something like that. It said Avengers on it, regardless. So I'm assuming we're going to come back to that watch eventually, but right now we haven't done so. I don't know. Maybe we've seen this watch before. If you are a eagle-eyed listener and you know exactly what that watch is from, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know if we're already supposed to know. All right, next. Clint sees a news report of the Ronin being back, and this is why he gets involved. He goes after Kate. Kate's in the middle of being attacked by the Tracksuit Mafia. I love how goofy that name is. And he rescues her. And that's how those two characters get mixed up together, and we continue on in the show. But my questions that I typed up before watching episode 2 were the following. What's with the watch? I think I already alluded to that. What will come with Jack taking the Ronin sword? I have a theory on that, obviously. It probably is a in-your-face, slap-in-your-face theory. Who are these tracksuit guys? What's going on behind the scenes? Because obviously there's got to be a bigger bad behind the scenes than these goofy tracksuit guys. And could Kate's dad still be alive? We've seen this in tons of other film and television. If you don't see the death on screen, don't always fully assume that that character is dead. So I think that that is still a question that I have. Could Kate's dad still be alive? Something else that I originally had here in my notes, but I wasn't so sure about keeping it in there, but I feel the need to just mention it. I don't trust Kate's mother either. I mean, obviously she's getting engaged to Jack, and I don't trust Jack at all right now. And speaking of that, I'll just go ahead and share my theory. After the first episode, I already felt off about Jack. Jack takes that sword, and then suddenly Armand's dead. I mean, I think Jack's going to be our main villain here in this show, but who knows? Those were my thoughts for episode 1. And those were my questions from episode 1. Now, let's go to episode 2, which was titled Hide and Seek. Fire from the Tracksuit Mafia results in Clint and Kate leaving the Ronin suit in Kate's apartment. So they after they connect in episode 1, they go to her apartment, try to hang out and hide out for a minute, but they track her because Kate wasn't necessarily safe with putting that Ronin suit on. Then the suit is gone because they leave the apartment to go to a different location, but when Clint comes back to try to get the Ronin suit, it's gone when he returns to that apartment, and he acts like a firefighter. He closes the firefighter truck, and he sees a sticker that says NYC LARPers, which leads him to the discovery that a NYC LARPer has the suit, and he sees this on social media, which takes us to this LARPer scene, which was golden. Okay, Clint makes a deal with the guy that has the suit, and he says, just let me kill you, Hawkeye, because that'll be the greatest moment of my life, because I'll get to quote unquote kill a superhero. And of course, when I say kill, I mean they're just basically kind of acting it out. And he fake stabs, or they're fighting or whatever, and there's this guy to the side that's making these clashing noises with swords. And I mean, I'm sitting here saying it's hilarious, but I mean, I think back to, when me and my brother Jacob were kids, doing our lightsaber dueling and making the sound effects. That's exactly what these grown men were doing at this NYC LARPer meetup, and I'm here for it. I love it. I thought it was hilarious. But Clint ends up getting the Ronin suit. He ends up getting that Ronin suit, and he takes it to a random gym in NYC, in New York City, and he puts it in a locker, and he locks it up. But they really zoomed in there for a brief second on the lock that he puts on that locker. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to come back to this. I don't know why Clint thought that was a good and safe location to put the Ronin suit. Personally, that's just my opinion. I'm currently having the theory that somehow Jack is going to get his hands on it, and that is going to be, again, our main villain of this show, of this series. Okay, next, Jake and Kate begin fencing with each other while having a family dinner, and Jack loses purposely, and this is when Kate becomes to be very suspicious that Jack is definitely hiding something. And then while Jack's kind of to the side, she goes after his face, and that's when he quickly just blocks it with ease, and that pretty much confirms that Jack's up to something. Jack's got skills, and we need to know more about Jack. And then here was something really suspicious and honestly kind of chilling to the bone there for a second. Jack offers Kate a Armand butterscotch. And the reason why that's suspicious, if we go back to episode 1, Kate verbally says something about like a monogram Armand butterscotch. Like, that's weird. That's odd. And so it makes me think, like, was Jack still in the shadows in that home when Armand was killed? And again, I don't know for certain that Jack was the one that killed him. I just think that that's kind of what the show is heavily leading to right now. And then Clint kind of basically gives himself to the tracksuit mafia, which leads to kind of some funny scenes. You know, the tracksuit mafia tries to be big and bad. Clint knows they're not big and bad, and he's just kind of making fun of them, whatever. And then Kate arrives as she kind of tracks Clint's location with the Bishop technology. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but she tracks Clint's location, attempts to save Clint, but is captured at the end of episode 2. And the end of the episode reveals a woman that I've never personally seen before. Please, if you've seen this woman before, let me know in the comments, or let me know your theory of who this woman is in the comments. Never seen this woman before, but she seems to be in charge of the tracksuit mafia, and that is where we were left. And my biggest question that I'm still, and I think I've alluded to it already, that I'm still thinking about after 2 episodes of Hawkeye is, did Jack kill Armand? Personally, I'm leaning toward absolutely. Like, I feel like the evidence is there, and Jack's clearly skilled. I think he's going to end up being our main villain. I think he's already got the Ronin sword. I think he's somehow going to get his hands on the Ronin costume, the outfit, and he's going to be our main villain. And Clint and Kate are going to have to work together to somehow bring him down. But we got a second villain now with this woman that was introduced here at the very end of this episode. So I don't really know what's going on with her. I will say this, though. The whole time the tracksuit stuff was going on, for some reason, I kept thinking that it was going to be the villain that was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm blanking on her name right now. I kind of want to look this up. So if you will indulge me for a brief second. She's the one that ends up talking to that fake Captain America, and I'm blanking on his name now all of a sudden. Sylvie? Is it something like that? Or am I thinking of I think I'm thinking of Loki with that. Hold on, indulge me here. Who is that villain at the very end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, female villain. Sylvie is the chick from Loki, is she not? We know it's Carly Morgenthau. We know that. That was the Flag Smasher villain. Guys, I'm struggling to find this. Because she's also at the end of Black Widow. She's also at the end of the I gotta figure this out. Gotta figure this out while we're here. Oh, here she is. I got a picture. Who is this? We're discovering it here together. Why am I blanking on this name? Power Broker. That was revealed to be Sharon Carter in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Come on, this is not an easy article to read here. All right, well, anyway, regardless, I thought that it was going to be her. That was the villain that was working. Val, there it is. I finally found it. It was Val. Val all along. No, that's the wrong show. No, I thought it was her. At the end of the second episode that was working behind the scenes with this tracksuit mafia, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So we'll see. That's just a personal theory of mine that somehow she could be incorporated. But you let me know what you think, and you let me know what you think of Hawkeye so far. I mean, personally, I haven't been super excited for this show because Hawkeye is one of those characters that I've never really gotten too excited for. And I've gone into this show thinking, okay, if this show makes me more interested in the character of Hawkeye, it's a win. And so far, I am more interested in Hawkeye, especially, like I said at the top, with him dealing with the aftermath of all the things with Natasha being gone after the events of Endgame. All the different things that he's having to internally deal with is making this show more interesting already. So So far, it's a win for me. I don't think it's the best MCU show to say the least so far on Disney Plus, but it's succeeding and making me care more about Hawkeye. So I can't wait for next week to see episode 3. And if the content is there, I will do another reaction video to it and let you know what I thought of it. But until then, as always, I'll see you next time. And guess what? Have a good Thanksgiving. Peace out.